How should the Washington Wizards front office of Will Dawkins and Michael Winger build upon this young core in the 2025 and 2026 drafts? We're going to talk about that and more next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott again. I appreciate you guys making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. And tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Now, through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get 3 weeks of free trial of the NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. All you have to do is visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, everybody, how will this front office of Will Dawkins and Michael Winger build on this young core of Bilal Coulibaly, Alex Sarr, and Bob Carrington, and Keyshawn George, and Tristan Vucevic? But those big three are definitely the core that build upon in the next couple of NBA drafts. So we're going to take a look at both drafts, and then we're going to look at the itinerary for next month, because obviously a lot coming up next month. This is the last month coming up before training camp, preseason, and things get started. So we're going to talk about everything that I'm going to cover, and then we're going to do chop it up like we always do at the end. So we can start off this Friday night off like we always do. All right, everybody, let's get into it. We're going to start with the 2025 NBA draft. Now, look, we're going to look at what prospects should we target to build upon this young core we have, which, you know, the big core here is what? Bilal Coulibaly, a.k.a. Big Cool, Bob Carrington, and Alex Sarr. But you can also throw in Keyshawn George. He's definitely part of the young core, and Tristan Vucevic. Now, are there other players you could probably pop in there? Jordan Poole? Absolutely. You know, you could look at Saddiq Bey. You could look at Corey Kispert. So we're going to look at every possible outcome. Look at what prospects can we add to this young core within the next couple years, because I believe that the next couple of drafts are the most important drafts for the Washington Wizards. And after that, it's all about progression and development. And I believe by 2027, you're going to start to see a lot of pay dirt when it comes to these prospects that we're trying to develop in the nation's capital. So let's start off with the 2025 NBA draft and what players could we look at to add to this young core, man. Obviously, was go ahead and get the most obvious one out of the way. Cooper Flagg, power forward out of Duke, 6'9", 206 pounds. So looking at Cooper Flagg, unique prospect, a dominant defensive player who has a massive impact on the game on both ends when he's not scoring the ball. He's a complete offensive player who can dribble, pass, and shoot, but doesn't necessarily project as a first option or an elite ISO scorer, which is good for a team like the Wizards. His outside shot still needs work, but shows plenty of promise. He is one of the most complete prospects you'll see with the elite ability on both ends of the court. And real quick, what is his comparison? Andre Kirilenko, I think he's got, you know, he's a little more, his frame is a little heavier than Andre Kirilenko's was, but I like the comp. And Scottie Pippen, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but that's not a bad comp, man. You know, Scottie Pippen was probably one of the original point forwards, man. So we're, you know, looking at the makeup of the team, Cooper Flagg, where would you project him? Obviously, power forward. Now, what's the big snag with that? Alex Sarr. He has to show certain progression, obviously, in his rookie season, but also from a physicality standpoint. He's got to add some muscle and he's got to add some aggression to be able to get there and bang into the paint with a lot of these modern day centers in the NBA. And while he very well could play the five, he wants to be, you know, he projects to be at the four right now. And again, with his skill set and with his body, has to go and hit certain milestones before he's able to, you know, be a center if he's called upon to be a center. You know, is Cooper Flagg, you know, could he play three? You know, some people do see that capability. He's 6'9", so he very well with his defense, you know, with his two-way capability, you know, he very well could play the three. Now, looking at, you know, other scenarios with the three, you know, where does Bilal Coulibaly slot long term with Cooper Flagg? So, you know, that's what I'm saying. Cooper Flagg is definitely a guy, you know, if you're going best player available, especially if you're at number one overall, you go Cooper Flagg without a question. But, you know, the biggest thing with Will Dawkins is versatility. And you see that with Cooper Flagg, you see that with Bilal Coulibaly, you see that with Alex Sarr. So I think that if we indeed find ourselves possessing the number one overall pick, Cooper Flagg, you run to the podium. So a couple of variables to look at. Would Alex Sarr be ready to go to the five if Cooper Flagg projects at the four? And if not, could Cooper Flagg play the three and Bilal Coulibaly at the two? So there's a couple things to look at. All right, number 2 prospect I'm looking at is Nolan Chirard. I hope I'm saying that. I'm still working on my French, man. But point guard out of France. He's 6'4", 184 pounds. And he's a wingspan of 6'8" wingspan. So international player coming out of France, elite level point guard prospect who can do it all. Pass the rock, push the pace, hit the 3, and defend the ball. He excels at getting into the lane and finishing in traffic, and is also lethal from downtown, baby. So he's really coming on strong as a prospect and flying up the rankings for the 2025 draft. Now, a couple comps to look at. Obviously, Tony Parker, fellow Frenchman point guard, and Kyrie Irving. Now, looking at Nolan Chirard, or Choré, I don't know yet. I'll let you guys know. A lot of intangibles. I like him as a prospect. I love him as a prospect. Another French player, but two-way potential, defensive potential, a guy who can shoot the ball, shoot mid-range. He can drive the lane. He can pass the rock. Checks all boxes for what we want in DC. Now, obviously, the first name that comes to your mind is what? Bob Carrington, right? Bob Carrington is a guy who can play off ball and on ball. Another guy to look at is what? Jordan Poole. Do they project him to be here in DC past the 3 years of his contract? Is he that long-term option? I'm a big fan of Jordan Poole. I know a lot of you guys are. He's caught his smoke, but I definitely project him as a player who can have a career season. Now, what comes along with that? There's a couple things. One, if he has that career season that I believe he's going to have, his trade value is going to come up. And, obviously the timeline has changed. They're gone younger. And you look at Bob Carrington, maybe you find a backcourt mate within the next couple of drafts to pair with Bob Carrington long-term, who's a younger guy. Because if you look at his age, he is, I don't know if they had his age on here, but, he's still very, very young, man. He fits the timeline of what they're trying to do in DC. So he's a very intriguing prospect to put in the same backcourt with Bob Carrington, because that would be a backcourt where, one, they're going to score. 2, they're going to be very athletic. And number 3, defense. Defense is the name of the game in the nation's capital. So he fits all those boxes. So I would definitely look at him, especially if we don't get number 1. If you're looking at top 5, picks 2 through 5, he's definitely a guy. If you're looking to maybe move on from Jordan Poole, which, if you look at his contract, look at his age, look at the timeline shift, he's a guy who definitely, if he has a career season, I think he's going to have, can definitely have, carry some trade value if you want to add more trade chips going into 2025, 2026, and 2027. So a couple other prospects to look at real quick, guys, from the 2025 NBA draft. Dylan Harper, shooting guard. Same thing, kind of the same scenario with Nolan Chirard. Dylan Harper, shooting guard out of Rutgers, 6'5", 215 pounds with a 6'10" wingspan, and he's a freshman at Rutgers. Taking a look at him, advanced skill level, man. Feel for the game and big-time shot-making ability. I'm trying to tell you. He loves to operate with the ball in his hands and can score from all three levels. He isn't an elite athlete, okay, but he has a strong frame and big-time offensive talent who knows how to play. Alpha dog. That's the biggest thing you get out of Dylan Harper. Alpha dog. We need more dogs in the nation's cap, and he fits that mold. All right, some comparisons. James Harden. Obviously, we know James Harden was not a defensive guy, and Kobe White. So, potential long-term fits in a backcourt with Bob Carrington. Like I said, Jordan Poole he very well could be a guy. He's well liked in the organization. He very well could be the future at point guard, the future fit with Bob Carrington going forward. But here's the thing: with his contract, with his age, and with Will Dawkins looking to accumulate as much draft capital as he can, if Jordan Poole has a good year and brings his trade value up, he very well could get moved, man. We know the name of the game for a lot of these veterans. Jordan Poole's kind of in the mix where he's a veteran, but he's a young player too. He could be a long-term piece. I like Jordan Poole. I would love him here long-term, but I also get from the standpoint of trade value. Looking at Denny, I was a Denny fan, but from a trade standpoint, they were able to get substantial value back for him. Bob Carrington came in the draft. They got a pick, I believe, in 2029. I get it's not the sexiest pick, but they were able to get a couple of first-rounders, man, which is definitely the asking price for a lot of guys on the roster, especially Kyle Kuzma is one of those guys. So one more guy to look at real quick before we get into the ad break. Ace Bailey, you guys already know. Small forward, 6'10", out of Rutgers. So Rutgers going to have a nice squad, man. I'm a college basketball guy. I'm definitely looking at Rutgers, man, because, between him and Dylan Harper, a lot to like about Rutgers in college basketball. But 200 pounds, and he's also a freshman. And before we get into comps, because I love the comps, Has as much upside as any player in this draft. Very well could be the number one pick alongside or challenging Cooper Flag. Awesome size for wing, 6'9", big time ability. Takes tough shots, but he makes them. He needs to improve his shot selection. He does take tough shots, but his shot selection does have to get better because he does fall in love with the jumper at times. It's rare to find a 6'9" player who moves the way he does and has an advanced skill level to roll in transition. So he's a guy that, again, the name of the game is what? Versatility. So if you're looking at a guy who could be a small forward, if they really wanted to invest heavily into the backcourt of Jordan Poole and Bob Carrington, you got Bilal, Dylan Harper, best player available, get two. Maybe you have to choose between Ace or Nolan out of France. But we're in a good position, guys. We're not going to be very good. We are going to be better to watch to a certain degree. We're going to win probably 5 more games, but we are still in unofficial tank mode. So those are the 4 prospects I like out of the 2025 draft. We're going to get into the 2026 draft real quick. I know it's tougher to really predict this draft because a lot can happen within a year's time, but we're going to get into that. But before we do, guys, tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. So you guys know that I love me some FanDuel, and you've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Well, we have something a little different for you guys today. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5, and you get 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel any daggone time, y'all. Just visit FanDuel.com. Download America's #1 sportsbook, FanDuel. Thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen of the day. For your second listen, enjoy the Locked On NBA podcast. There is no offseason in the NBA, and Locked On NBA provides daily fantasy basketball analysis from national and local experts in 30 minutes or less. No one keeps you as informed and entertained as Locked On NBA. Available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every single day. So let's get back into it, everybody. We're going to take a look at the 2026 draft real quick. And then we're going to get into my itinerary. I'm going to let you guys what's going on next month and beyond because we're ramping up towards the regular season. Well, obviously training camp, preseason, then the regular season, but very, very, very excited, man, because the NFL season here, but it's almost time for our Wiz to start playing, man. So definitely. So let's get into 2026. Like I said, I have a couple prospects to look at. Right now it's shaky because a lot of these guys are high school guys already, man. I mean, I'm looking at Nate Ament, who's from nearby Manassas, Virginia. I'm a Virginia guy, man. So the one guy to look at real quick, is a high school player. But I'm going to take a look at a couple guys real quick, guys. Number one, well, I guess 3 guys. Number one, AJ Dabansa out of Utah Prep, California. He is a small forward, 6'8", 201 pounds. Now, after reclassifying to join the 2025 recruiting class, he will battle Cameron Boozer for the top spot in the 2026 draft. He's an elite scoring wing who looks like he could be a future superstar at the NBA level. So kind of looking quick at 2026. We're definitely still going to be in unofficial tank mode. That's why I said that this draft, 2025 and 2026, and when I say this draft, this year's draft, 2024 NBA draft are very important because by 2026, I do see us progressing as a team to a certain degree. And within those 2 years, 2027, 2028, we're going to start adding pieces here and there to become a playoff team, in my opinion, if you look at the timeline. Right now it's progression mode and development mode. But he's a guy that you add him to the wing. Like I said, versatility is the name of the game. Bilal Coulibaly can play the 2, play the 3. I don't so much see him at the 4, but, a lot of intangibles here, man. And I think that the Wizards, if you look at the front office, they're in a really good position. We're not going to be very good, but no, I mean, look, you're going to have a lot of options to being a bad team. In the next couple of drafts, these 2 drafts we're talking about, they're going to have a lot of options. So number 2, Cameron Boozer, obviously. Power forward out of Miami, Florida. Grew up watching his dad, Carlos Boozer. Kind of has the same makeup as his dad, 6'10", 215 pounds. Truly special prospect. And one of the top prospects in all of high school basketball. He's incredibly efficient at scoring the rock and makes it a little easy, man. I'm trying to tell you, his comps, Michael Beasley and Jason Tatum, I'll take that, man. So, like I said, Carlos Boozer's son, I mean, he definitely projects to be a really, really good player in the NBA, man. And the number 3 guy, like I said, I'm going to bring up Nate Ament out of Manassas, Virginia. Small forward, 6'9", 180 pounds, very, very raw. but he is a fast rising prospect with size and great length, plus a smooth jumper. Local guy. I'm a Virginia guy from the Northern Virginia, so he's a guy who's local. Definitely shout out Manassas, Virginia. All my guys out of Manassas, Virginia, you already know who you are. So those are the 3 prospects I'm looking at. You guys get in the comment section. Like I said, we're about to chop it up in the comment section like we always do. But let me know what prospects you're looking at and what kind of makeup of the roster once we get to the 2025 draft are you looking at as far as additions and subtractions, man. So real quick, I'm going to get to the itinerary for the rest of the month, and we're going to get in the comments. But before we do, guys, I'm talking to you guys about Locked On NBA. Thank you again for making Locked On Wizards your first listen today. Now go check out Locked On NBA podcast, where the season never ends, providing national expertise with a local perspective. You find a link to Locked On NBA in the description, so you don't need to search, y'all. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. All right, everybody, let's get back into it. All right, the itinerary. Now, guys, again, these next couple of weeks, beginning of September, it will be 3 videos a week for the first couple of weeks. Now, once we hit September 16th, week number 3, we go back to daily, every day. We go back to every day. So we're going to ramp up. So with the 2 weeks that we're going 3 episodes a week, I'm going to look at the starting 5 and key bench pieces. I'm gonna go over the roles and their expectations for the season coming up. All right, weeks 3 and 4 this month, we're gonna do our over and unders, hot takes. We're gonna start doing a lot of stuff, ramping up towards training camp. Now, once we hit October, it's gonna be right around media day. I will be present and accounted for, asking the players, the executives, the coaching staff, all the questions, man. So definitely media day is something I'm looking forward to, because we're gonna get into the nitty gritty of this upcoming season, man. So media day, I'm definitely looking forward to going up there and chopping up not only with the players and execs and coaching, but fellow people. I mean, Washington Post, right? I mean, the people that are really into sports in the DMV, man. So definitely looking forward to it. So again, I got something else I was going to bring up too. So, and again, you guys know we're going live at each games, the preseason and regular season games. So, also in the search right now, we are still in the process of finding a co-host. I definitely appreciate you guys who are rocking me solo, man. Definitely miss my man, the rail that Oliver, man. Definitely hope he's doing well, man. It's my guy, it's my friend. So definitely miss chopping up with him. But we are in the search. So, we hopefully once we get into the regular season, we'll have a fellow backcourt mate here on Locked On Wizards, man. So a lot to talk about coming up. So like I said, September 16th, we get back into every day, but for the next couple of weeks, starting September 1st, man, or this week coming up, we are still 3 videos a week. So for the 3 videos a week, man, we're gonna go over starting 5 and key bench pieces, what the roles are going to be, and expectations coming up. And of course, the end of September, we're going over and unders, predictions, hot takes, everything, man. We're gonna have some guests on the show, so definitely put your seatbelt on, man, because we on for a ride. Like I said, I appreciate you guys, man. So let's get into comments and let's start this Friday off like we always do, man. Uptown Dre, what's good, my brother? Yo, my brother, how you doing tonight, man? Hope you're doing well. DJ says Cooper Flag or Ace Bailey. Yeah, man. Either one of those guys could go number 1. And I'm, like I said, it really goes off of what position, what fits, what is the long-term vision. If you look at a backcourt, Jordan Poole is much loved. I like Jordan Poole. Gave him his smoke for struggling, but he impressed me a lot with how he responded to the criticism. If he has that breakout campaign, then things change. Do you look at him as a future piece? Do you look at him as a trade piece? If he struggles, though, you can find yourself in a whole new situation. So I definitely wish him well and wish he has a career season. We're going to talk a lot about him and Kyle Kuzma having career seasons, in my opinion, because they have added pieces to his team. They're a little better. Now, are they a team that's going to compete? No. Are they going to play in? Heck no. So, but they are somewhat a little better. So I do see a +5 as far as their record this season, man. But Ace Bailey is definitely a guy, man, where he definitely makes his team better. Cooper Flag or Ace Bailey, like I said, DJ Harper, list goes on. Definitely appreciate the comment, brother. Let's see. Psycho Blue SFXT. Draft correctly is 1. Absolutely. He also says stop being a Suns farm team is another one. Yeah, I mean, to a certain degree, but Bradley Beal, I think that was definitely a good move getting off from that contract, even though we got off that contract way too late. And Monte, I think Monte is a good move for Phoenix. They need a point guard. Bradley Beal ain't it. D Book ain't it. So they need to really find out how to bring that roster together, man. But I feel you on that, man. Locked On Law, how you doing tonight? We need to stop drafting all these daggone developmental players and start drafting real talent. I agree, but again, we all know what division is for Will Dawkins. These are the type of players we're looking at, developmental players. Bilal, he's the developmental player. You see the upside, you see the potential, and I do agree with you to a certain degree. I do agree. You want to add guys that that they're going to contribute, especially as a starter. Looking at Cam Whitmore, the draft with Bilal, he's a guy who he would have provided immediate impact, but the timeline is crazy early, man. And like I said, there's players on this team that you definitely viewed as part of the future, where they're the question is up in the air if they're going to be here long term or not. So I agree, but here's the thing: Bilal is developmental, Alex Sarr developmental, Keyshawn George is developmental player, even though he's shown what he can do as a shooter. Bub Carrington, look, Bub still has to be developed too. Let's not get it twisted. That Bub definitely has to be developed too. So let's get into. But I definitely agree and appreciate the comment. Let's see. Link says next year there seems to be multiple players that could be an immediate contributor outside the top three. We haven't had a rookie contribute at high level in a while. Yeah, you are definitely right on that, because even John Wall had growing pains. They threw him in there in the fire early. Bradley Beal, list goes on. So I agree with you, man. It's been a while since we had a guy come right in and be a major contributor. So I definitely agree with that. My guy, DC Hoopla, my brother, man. What's going on with you, man? What's good, B. Scott? For the 2025 draft, I like Flag. Maluk is a guy we're going to talk about a lot going toward next year's draft. Ace, Knox, Edgecombe, and the French point guard. The French point guard, I like, man. I like him. If you want to move on from Jordan Poole, I think he would be a good match with Bub Carrington. But like I said, a lot of questions, man. A lot of questions tonight. Or not tonight. Oh, yeah, tonight. But overall, because like I said, a lot of intangibles, and versatility is the name of the game. DJ, again, hopefully the Wiz can get another first-round pick to double up in the 2025-2026 draft. I believe that this is definitely a question I'm going to ask Will Dawkins on Media Day, but there's been reports that they do want to add another pick. I think that would be a really good move, man, because not only are you grabbing guys who are future starters, but look, depth. Here's the thing. You need role guys, too, and especially young guys. Now, the biggest problem with drafting role guys and starters and having multiple first-round picks in one class is eventually you have to pay these guys. And, money can drive pretty quick when you're trying to, in 3 years, we talked about this before, where, a lot of the veteran contracts are 3 years, because what happens in 3 years allows up for an extension. Now, you only have one guy. Tristan, we'll see what Vucevic, what the vision is for him, but you would re-sign Bilal, but then the next year is, you're looking at least re-sign 2 out of 3 guys of that draft class. Hopefully Alex Sarr, he's up for extension, and hopefully he earns it. Same thing with Bub, Keyshawn George. But if all 3 of them end up being, contributors, you're gonna have to move on from one of them, because you can't possibly pay all 3 of these guys, man. So that's the tough thing about having draft picks in the same draft class, where if they both pan out, you have to end up re-signing them at some point. And if you look at what's going on in the NBA, they do love players staying with the teams that drafted them, but still. You got to be very, very, very secure in the young guys, man, if you want to go towards like being over the cap. And even now, if you look at what's going on with the NBA as far as going over the cap, it's harder to go into the luxury tax now. So one thing to think about, but I definitely agree with that. DC Hoopla again, man. In 2026, I love AJ a lot. I like Elijah and Colin. Yeah, I agree, man. I completely agree with that, man. Definitely agree, man. Great minds think alike, right? Let's see. Link back at it. Bilal definitely contributed on defense at a high level, and Sark can surprise us. But this year we'll have options for someone who doesn't need as much development. I agree, man. Bilal, from a defensive standpoint, it's kind of like Alex Sarr. The defense is going to be the first part of the game that you're going to see him develop and excel at. With Bilal's defense, same thing with Alex Sarr. With his rim protection, that's going to be the first part of his game you're going to see. Now, both of them, within the next couple of years, you're going to see the offense slowly progress and develop, and they're going to become threats on the offensive end. But that's why you have players like Jordan Poole or Kyle Kuzma, or Sadiq Bey coming up, or Michael Brogdon, because you're going to be able to carry on that scoring weight, because you're not ready yet. So, but I definitely agree with that, man. And DJ also said, or if Wiz do double up with multiple first-round picks in the 2025 draft, then trade the 26 for a star player, then we're looking at a possible quick rebound in playoffs. I agree 100%. That absolutely. I agree with you. Absolutely. Great comment, man. Definitely appreciate that, man. Let's see. Locked on Law said, defense don't win squat in the NBA. This isn't 1990. I would have to disagree with that. I'm going to say why. Yes, we are in an era where three-point shooting is prioritized, high scoring. But if you look at what the league's trying to do, You know, if you look at the officiating, not only in the second half of last season, but in the playoffs, they're trying to stem the scoring. They're prioritizing, you know, and look at organizations from an overall standpoint, they're prioritizing defense. You look at trades made last year, Marcus Smart, two first-round picks. I mean, the reason for that is because it's defense. Obviously, he's a veteran guy who provides leadership as defense. Rudy Gobert, look at the package they got. Utah got for him. I mean, that's because it's defense. He's not contributing too much offensively. It's defense, elite defense. People are going back to paying for elite defense because, you know, that's where the league's gone. There's different eras in the league, man. You're right. In the 1990s, defense was named the game, but I do believe that defense is going to come back to being a priority in the NBA because that's where league shifting. These high-scoring games is just, you know, people don't like the high-scoring games where both teams are scoring 150 points a night, and defense is just, you know, guys are standing there saying, oh, by all means, son, you're going in, you know, you got to, you know, defense is going to start to be prioritized, you know, slowly but surely as time goes on, man. So I agree, but I disagree, but definitely appreciate the comment, man. Appreciate you. Invalid says draft Ace Bailey. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I'm a big fan of Ace Bailey, man. I do love me some Cooper Flag, but Ace Bailey, you know, ain't too shabby either. He also said we need an offensive superstar. Absolutely. We need a guy who kind of flip the script on Alex Sarr and Balak Coulibaly, a guy who is offensive minded first, and then the defense comes along. If, you know, he's a guy who checks other boxes, you know, work ethic, willing to work his tail off to be that contributor on the defensive end. I don't want to see a purely offensive guy, but I definitely agree with the comment, man. Definitely appreciate that. DC Hoopla says, I love Ace star potential at Invalid. I think the three of us all agree, man. Ace Bailey has super all-star potential, man. And then I say the same thing about Alex Sarr and Balak Coulibaly. And I think that, you know, once you add Bob Carrington in there, where he's got some star potential too, I think we're heading in the right direction, guys. I mean, it takes a while. It's going to take a while. I mean, it's going to take a hot minute, man, but I think we are heading in the right direction, in a direction we haven't been in a long time. Alex Ramirez, my guy, man, we could definitely go and have him back in the show, y'all. My guy, Alex Ramirez, man. If you don't follow him, you know, on YouTube, please do, because you are missing out. My man right here, he is doing great Wizards content, and I'm looking out for that next video, Alex. Come on, man. Waiting on you, man. So I'll definitely appreciate the comment. Now, he says, Ace Bailey or Flag, I do everything to trade for them, simple as the absolute. Absolutely. I'm running to the podium for one of them, man. Absolutely, because you add them to the current core, we are cooking with gas, man. I'm trying to tell you. Merrill Garrett, my guy, man. Big fan of the show. I'm a big fan of his show, man. Definitely. My guy, Merrill. They're building this team the right way. People need to stop complaining and let the kids develop. Amen. I agree 100%. Let them cook, man. Let Dawkins cook. It's going to take a while, but real rebuilds take a while. Golden State took a minute. I'm just saying, you know, very rarely do you see a team rebuild quickly. And I think Oklahoma City kind of surprised themselves because they ended up being really good, really fast, man. But, you know, I know that we're modeling over, you know, on OKC, but you can't expect the same results as OKC because there's all different intangibles as far as, you know, coaching staff development, market, you know, small market where, you know, you have a lot of fans in Oklahoma City because it's a smaller market where outside of the Thunder ain't too much going on. And, you know, I ain't trying to throw no shade on Oklahoma, man, because beautiful part of the country, man. But, you know, small market where your fan base is, you know, vibrant, where if you look at DC, it's a big market. You know, so often when teams are rebuilding or they're not very competitive, you know, it goes from feast to famine real quick. You know, you look at the Nationals, you know, 2019 won a World Series, and then they traded everybody away. And then all of a sudden, you know, it's crickets up in that spark. It goes from feast to famine pretty fast, man. So that's how big markets are. Look at New York, man. They've been, I mean, the Knicks been trash forever. Now that they're good, you know, you see, you know, people like Stephen A. Smith go from hating on the Knicks to all of a sudden he's in love with the Knicks. So that's a big thing is how competitive your market is as far as your teams, man. Alex Ramirez, nobody on this team has superstar potential. Real superstars potential so far is Bob Carrington. I agree with that. Now, when I say all-star, I think we all agree there's a difference between all-star and superstar. Superstars like LeBron James. I mean, guys, you know, players who transcend the sport, man. Who, you know, just, you know what I mean? Like all-stars, make it to an all-star team. You know, there's a lot of players who aren't really superstars but have made all-star teams. So I still see Bilal and Alex Sarr as all-star potential. Bob Carrington's the same, but Carrington, like you said, has superstar potential just because of swag, local guy, and he has shown that he's very polished at an early point, in his time with the Wizards. Even though, you know, you look at Summer League, you know, it's small sample size. He's going to have his growing pains. So, you know, I definitely, let's see. Locked on losses. This roster is developmentally disabled. I don't say that, man. The ceiling for anyone on this roster is Superman. Yeah, it's how do I respond? I see where you're going. I do agree, man, but it's early. It's early in the game, man. Right now, and that's why I said that. The people you really put a target on as far as watching them progress is not so much players now, man. It's the front office. Can they find these diamonds in the rough in the draft? Can they win through the draft? Can they hit on the draft picks? Brian Keefe, head coach Brian Keefe, the name of the game for him is development. It really spotlights on him and Will Dawkins because now now's the time for them to do their jobs. For them to excel. Going to hitting draft picks. Develop these young players. There's not a lot of like expectations for the players, man, because most of them are young, and then most of these vets are either A, going to be gone by the deadline, or B, we'll see they're here for the as far as leadership. So I'm with you. I definitely see what you. But I think that Bilal's, as far as development, I think he's gonna be there. I mean, you definitely see the potential. You see the dog. Alex R definitely has things he needs to work on. Definitely things he needs to add, such as aggressiveness. But we'll get there, man. I mean, we'll get there. So I agree. Dean Palmer, how you doing, man? I think the Commanders will beat the Bucks next weekend. Man, hot take, man. I mean, Jaden Daniels, man, has shown that he's gonna be good. I am so glad we finally have a franchise quarterback. So, man, hot take, because I'm part of a pick'em league, man, and I actually did my picks, and I initially picked the Commanders to beat them because I don't know. I think it's 50-50. Obviously, Vegas has Tampa Bay being the favorites, but we'll see, man. Dean got me on here talking about the Commanders, man. My guy. DC, if Dawkins manages to get another first round next year's draft, then we need to get out the kitchen so we can keep on cooking. Man, look, get out the kitchen, let the man cook. Let the man cook. I'm trying to say, I'm with you, man. If he adds that first round pick, then he is definitely cooking with oil, man. Definitely. And I love me, man, catfish. Oh, man, I can take some catfish right now, man. Look at me, I'm hungry. All right, let's see. Alex Ramirez, appreciate you anytime, my brother, man. Like I said, if you guys don't follow Alex Ramirez, it's my guy, man. Nice young man. I mean, he is on his game when it comes to Wizards content. So definitely subscribe to my man, Alex Ramirez, man. Definitely. I'll throw the link in the description below. So we'll try to get through this, guys. Like I said, we're at the 32-minute mark. So definitely, you guys know how I am, man. I try to get through every comment, man. I hate leaving comments unread, man. And like I said, 21 people in the chat, man. I get it. It's quiet time right now. There's not a lot going on, but we are gearing up. So definitely rock with your boy, man. Definitely rock with me because we're getting closer and closer to the regular season. Lock the law again. We need to get Kuzma off the roster. Amen. He's taking minutes that need to go to other players. I'm with you, man. I like Kuz, but you have to move him at some point. And that's why I think that with him potentially going to small forward, I think that he's going to be able to have a really good year scoring wise and bring his trade value up. And I think if there's ever a time for us to get those 2 first rounders, it could be, at the trade deadline, if he has a season that I think he's going to have. So I definitely agree with that. Chocolate City Hoops. And again, man, this is like my man Alex Ramirez, Chocolate City Hoops. Definitely, if you do not subscribe to my man, definitely subscribe. He's had the Red Oliver on there, man. Had me on there. He had my big butt up there, man, and chopping it up, laughing it up, man. And so this is a podcast that is on the up and up, man. So if you do not subscribe to Chocolate City Hoops, definitely subscribe to my guy, man, because they are doing good things over there, man. And the capability is going to get that much more, man. I'm trying to tell you. Big believer in him, man. So definitely appreciate the comment. I think Bilal has star potential even more than Sar. I agree because of his position. I definitely agree with that, man. I definitely agree. And he also said this year for Bilal would tell us a lot. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to talk a lot about Bilal going towards training camp and preseason, but you have to see some progression for Bilal, man, because you have to see something. That is an excellent comment. You have to see something. DC Hoopla says, hopefully the season we will move on from Bulletproof, a.k.a. Kuzma. Hopefully, man. I mean, that man slips punches like Ali, man. I'm trying to tell you. Slips trades, that is. Alex Ramirez says, trade Kispert by deadline. If Kuzma can play with our system, keep him, in my opinion, but eventually trade at Lock on Law. Oh, I love, man. Let's get this conversation getting with each other, man. Yeah, I agree. Kispert, I see them taking the Denny route, which is sign him to a very team-friendly extension and then moving him at some point. Because we see with all sports, man. Not only basketball, but you see it in baseball. You see it in NFL. I mean, best example in the NFL right now locally is the Washington Commanders. If you look at all the draft picks that Ron Rivera had, most of them are gone. If you look at all the cuts and the trades made this season or this offseason with the Commanders, Adam Peters is putting his mark on the front office in Washington with the Commanders. And you see the same thing with Will Dawkins. Every GM does it. Now, some GMs do retain players or coaches or execs for the previous regime, but it's very rare because as a general manager, as a president of basketball operations, you want to put your own mark on the team. And Will Dawkins and Michael Winger are doing that. They're going to bring in their own guys. They're going to prioritize these guys. And then, the guys from the other era or other administration, Lord have listen to me. Tommy Shepard, guys. Denny was a guy that I looked at. He could definitely contribute to this team long term, but also he carried value, and they were able to get a decent package for Denny, man. And I think that Portland's gonna be good. I mean, obviously you're not gonna make any noise this year, man. But if you look, if you guys have the time, go take a look at Portland Trailblazers roster, man. They got a nice young roster, and it's got a nice mix of veterans. Now, you hate him or love him, DeAndre Ayton is what it is. Jeremy Grant, I get it, but they're heading in the right direction. So, but I definitely agree. Lockton lost his trade Kispert by noon tomorrow. Man, Kispert, man, you need that shooter. So, could he be retained? Yeah, absolutely. He's shown that he can be that sniper, be that guy who can cut and drive to the basket, high basketball IQ, finally working on his ball handling. He's becoming more of a threat with that. So I can see, we'll see. We're in a good spot because we have a nice depth of talent where we can move them for assets, we can keep them, we can develop them. So we're in a good spot, man. All right, last comment of the night. Unless somebody hits me up like we always do, that keep this thing rolling. All right. John Hipkins said, I like Cooper Flag, but I like Ace Bailey better. Yeah, I'm starting to like Ace Bailey better, man, especially for long-term fit, man. So I definitely like, because like I said, Cooper Flag, if he's there, if we're at number 1 overall, you definitely look at Cooper Flag. I mean, come on now. But, if you look at the year after Cameron Boozer, you could probably wait at power forward and see if you can develop Alex Sarr, get his body right to be that 5 of the future. Because a 7 foot plus, you got to imagine that you would have to entertain the idea of eventually being a 5, 7'3". So I know he wants to play the 4, but I mean, if you're able to add a talent like Cooper Flag or Boozer, then look, Alex, you just gonna have to be a 5, brother. I mean, I'm saying because so we'll see. We shall see. So then I'm gonna call. Oh, got one more. See, Invalid got it. Invalid said, yeah, I don't know if Cooper Flag can be the scorer that Ace Bailey can be. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Ace Bailey. Looking at a couple comments made, man, he's that scorer first, and I love his potential. I love his star potential. I love his scoring potential, man. So, Ace Bailey, man. And Lockton Law says Flag does everything else, though. Yep, we're in a good spot, guys. So, all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and call it because, I got love for you guys, man. I'll sit on all night just answering questions, man. So, I definitely appreciate you guys, man. Going to start this Friday night off, man. So, again, appreciate you guys, man. You guys got the itinerary lot coming up, man. Next couple of weeks will be 3 videos a week, but we're going to take a look at all the starting 5 and some bench pieces and what the roles are going to be, what the expectations are going to be. And then the end of September, we're going to do over and unders, hot takes. We're going to have some guests on. We're going to ramp it up. And then, of course, October is when media day and training camp starts. So, your boy's going to be hitting down 66 and going to the practice facility and getting some good content for you guys. Talking to these players, man, talking to the coaches and chopping it up with Michael Winger and Will Dawkins. So again, a lot to look forward to, guys. We're getting closer to the regular season. Like I said, we are in a search right now for a co-host because, like I said, I appreciate you guys rocking with me, man. And I do miss the dialogue, man. I've shown. I hope you guys agree. But I've enjoyed being solo to a certain degree but being solo, you got to kind of look at every perspective, which I don't mind doing, man. But try and get that dialogue back, man. So again, appreciate you guys. All right, guys. Have a safe and blessed weekend. Drink responsibly if you drink. I will see you guys Sunday night. Hail to the Wizards and peace. See you guys next time.